rebel force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
This is where the fun begins.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary.
With Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times.
Star Wars #1!
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Well, I hope by now you've had a chance to listen to the epic podcast that we recorded live at Rancho Obi-Wan last week for the big invasion as Rebel Force Radio and more than 100 RFR diehards convened. We broke bread, we drank wine, we smoked cigars, recorded a podcast, then we went to a bar and we closed it down. We closed down Rancho, and then we closed down a nearby bar. It was just great. It was just phenomenal. We're going to be talking, obviously, much more about that, get some behind-the-scenes details. So it goes without saying, but just once again, a huge thank you to everybody who came out and everybody who listened to the podcast. There is a video that's going to be released shortly, so fear not. That's underway thanks to our pal, Tyler Page.
No, it's already out.
Oh, it's already out. Oh,
yeah.
There it is. The video's already there, so make sure you check that out. And
thanks to Tyler Page, too. I don't mean to interrupt, but...
Oh, no, it's all right. Well, that voice you hear can only be one man. And, of course, if introductions are in order and you're new to Rebel Force Radio, and you may be, my name is Jason, and with me, as always, my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. Well, I'm like just barging into your whole opening rap, and now I feel like...
No, sometimes I forget. I get wrapped up in the fact that we're recording on, night X, and sometimes I forget that there's a little bit of lag between recording and when the show gets released. So, I get spoiled by doing this live stuff. It's great.
Wow, and did we ever get spoiled out in Petaluma, California? Because it was such a thrill to finally be able to do a show from Rancho Obi-Wan with a crowd of nothing but RFR radio listeners, along with Steve Sansweet and Ann Newman, and special friends like Baby Belushi, Billy Mack, the Babu Freaks, Puppet Lando. They were all there. And along with, really, it was the audience, though. That was the real star of the show, if you ask me. And in the wake of this entire event, I can tell you, Steve Sansweet and Newman, they were absolutely thrilled with the evening. I think it exceeded everyone's expectations and created a lot of new love and membership for Rancho Obi-Wan and new support for the Saga Museum, because people finally got to go to Rancho Obi-Wan and see what we've been talking about all these years and realize, hey, these guys aren't blowing smoke, it's the real deal over there. And so I have to say, I've never been more proud of our audience and the sense of community and Star Wars pride and positivity they all brought to the evening, from the earliest moments of the night when we were all just hanging out in the museum and wandering the grounds, and then leading up to the and of course drinking Skywalker Ranch wine. I don't want to leave that out. Beers were flowing, and leading up to the live podcast event, which was outrageous. The running of the Wilro hoods, throwing ice cream at people. It was just madness. The mustaches everywhere. It was confusing and madness. And it was a night to remember. And easy to forget if you joined us at Torches in Petaluma, because that went on till 3 a.m. RFR VIP Tanya getting in everyone's face. Shots.
Hey, speaking of Tanya, I don't know if you're watching the full show video right here. Tanya, do these look familiar?
Oh, did she leave her shades behind?
She left her shades. Well, so Tanya's amazing. She's so sweet. But she was helping me because people were just giving me all kinds of stuff, gifts, drinks, really? and it was hard to hold on to it. And Tanya had a bag with her. And she's like, well, I'll just put the stuff in my bag. And then, before you leave, you can get it. And so she gave me the bag. And in the bottom of the bag were Tanya's shades. I actually think they kind of work for me. So I don't know, Tanya. You might not get them back. But no. Make sure
I have her address.
Okay, good.
I have it. I have it. I'll give it to you.
I'll drop those in the mail to her. But
this is the first time learning of this. So, we'll get those out to Tanya ASAP. But, the after party was epic, and it was just great. And we've been celebrating the entire event ever since over at RFR on Patreon. Listeners have been sharing their photos with us. So there's a bunch of photo galleries up there from the event. Turtle Wars shot a really cool video he put together of the entire event, including both inside the museum and then at our broadcast and everything. And all kind of great things going on at RFR and Patreon, of course, patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. So the whole thing was just so epic. And, it continued into Sunday for sure, as I found myself hanging out in Petaluma beer gardens for the entire day, hanging out with people like RFR VIP Joe Dallas and Paul from Malulu, of course, Tyler Page.
Well,
Barry
I left
Harmon.
on Sunday. When I left, everybody was trying to convince you, Jim, to go hiking in the mountains.
Yeah, and I just couldn't. I couldn't.
Yeah, you weren't having any of that.
Yeah, I mean, if I had planned ahead of time, I would have done it.
You didn't have the right footwear. Number one.
Well, that's the thing. And Wendy did say to me right before I left, she goes, "You taking your hiking shoes?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't know." So I sort of made up my mind even before I got on the plane to go to California. So no hiking, unfortunately. I saw a bunch of people went up to the East Peak at Mount Tamalpais, and I happen to know for a fact they drove up there. They didn't hike up there. But I enjoyed the pictures and all the sentiments for sure.
Yeah.
And, Jason's got Turtle Wars video up on the screen right now as he's perusing the art gallery at Rancho Obi-Wan. He just put together a really nice compilation.
I have loved the whole Through the Eyes of series that have been posted up on the Patreon. That's been really cool because you try when you're in the mix of everything, it's hard to remember sometimes to take out your phone and snap some pics. So it's so great to get back from the trip, and then you've got all of these pictures that people have taken. And Jim, you hit the nail on the head when you talk about the pride. To be able to share our listener base with folks like Steve and Ann and Bob and all the docents, the whole crew out there. It was just, I'm with you. The best way to describe it is just proud of the community that we have built. And it's all been organic. There's a lot of people talk about community. It's about the community, and it becomes this sort of, touchy-feely, nana-nunu thing. And there's a lot of phoniness in it, but it's so organic with what has happened around Rebel Force Radio. We don't force it down anybody's throat, but we all have sort of found each other. And that's what makes it so great.
Yeah, we keep it real, bro. We definitely keep it real. My dad always used to say, somehow they always find each other. And I think he meant that in a derogatory kind of way, but I'm glad we're using it in a positive way.
That's right. That's right. My grandmother used to say there's a lid for every pot. So, go figure. But all of the stuff that's available over on Patreon is just awesome. Just awesome. And, we have a great show this week. Few things we're going to be catching up on. There was a new photo that was released from the set of Starfighter. We got to take a look at that, and hopefully it's better than that black and white job we got a couple of weeks ago. And we got the two Marks, Mark Hamill and Mark Maron. So Mark Hamill appearing on Mark Maron's podcast. I think Maron is hanging it up, actually. So this is maybe one of the final podcasts of his. But so the two Marks, and we'll have some highlights from that. And we got a lot of listener feedback, including some fresh feedback from folks that were there at Rancho Obi-Wan. So as we reminisce about our memories of the big show last weekend, we'll have your thoughts as well.
Yeah. It was a weekend to remember, and one we'll be talking about for a long time, I'm sure. But coming back, man, my flight back, holy smokes. I haven't shared this with anyone, but
got a few tales of the airways myself. So,
oh my goodness. Can I start? Let me start.
Yeah, please. No.
Because I already know some of your tales of woe, but you don't know this one.
Okay.
So leaving San Francisco, I'm sitting there on the runway at SFO. Plane finally takes off an hour and a half late. United, by the way. And we're up in the air. Beautiful. You could see everything, all the mountains and the ocean. And we're about half hour into our flight. And the pilot comes across the intercom.
We hit a bird, and we don't know if the bird did any damage to the plane, so we're going to have to turn around and go back to San Francisco International Airport, and we're going to have some mechanics look at it, but we just want to let you know we'll be turning around.
So I was like, whoa, wait a second. Now, whoa. And I'm looking across the aisle at the girl over there. We both make the same face, mouth wide open. What? And and right before we land, the pilot comes over again now with this reassuring message, okay? Because I'm freaking out now. I'm like, oh my God, a bird hit the plane. We're going down. And so he gets on the intercom.
I just don't want you to be alarmed if you see emergency vehicles meeting us on the runway. Really, nothing to worry about at all.
I don't want you to be
just
alarmed.
Nothing to be alarmed. It's just normal procedure in the situation of an emergency landing.
Emergency landing! We're going down! It's got Minox chewing on the power cables. So we do land, fine. I didn't see any emergency vehicles or anything.
Oh,
so,
good.
I always take the aisle seat anyway. So.
They didn't hit you with the hoses as you were coming in?
No, nothing like that.
That's good.
Not that I saw. So they finally taxi us to a gate, and we sit there for 3 hours. And they let people leave the plane. They say, if you want to make other flight arrangements, you can get off the plane now. And so they just let everyone leave. It was like a third of the flight, half the flight, maybe even more, maybe 2/3. They all left. So I was fine. The Bears were playing. It was a Monday Night Football game. So I sat there and watched them choke the game. So I was fine. We finally took off after I was supposed to have already been home. So I didn't walk in my door until almost 5 a.m.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's it. That's my travel horror story.
So how long were you sitting on the plane waiting waiting for it to be cleared to go out again?
3 hours.
I have good news for everyone. Apparently, the mechanics all looked at the plane and determined that the bird did absolutely no damage to it, so we'll be able to take off pretty soon.
And I'm like, well, wait a second now. This is all for nothing? And you call that good news? So thank you, United.
Well, the good news is you're still here. And
my flight out there was delayed. My flight coming back was delayed. But I've never been in a situation because, when you take off, you have just kind of that sense of a relief. Yes, we're on our way.
Right.
Next stop, home.
Yes. Right.
I'm sorry to inform everyone that we hit a bird.
A bird? How many tons of metal is this machine we're flying through the sky? Yeah. And you're going to fly us back because you hit
I think it was a bird that brought down the plane that in New York, the Miracle on the Hudson. I think that was a bird hit.
Oh, well, I would have enjoyed landing on a river.
I mean, if you were with Sully, that's what you want.
Maybe I could have been the new Sully.
Yeah, right.
Like, I just go into the cockpit.
I got this.
I got it, guys. We'll land on Lake Michigan. No problem. There ain't no birds there. But so listen, I seriously, folks, I appreciate their attention to detail and not willing to risk anything. I was fine with the whole thing. I dealt with it like a champ. I even spoke to Wendy on the phone a few times, and she's like, "Oh my God, if I were you, I'd be freaking." And it really got me thinking about the psychology of the commercial airline passenger.
Yeah.
It really got me thinking about that, because people, it seems like their emotions are just so ramped up to a level of intensity when they get on these airplanes and go into these airports. And I'm, usually the whole experience, if you're just flying domestically or whatever, it lasts like 12 hours max. That's half a day. But people lose their minds.
They do.
At airports and on airplanes.
I think a lot of it has to do with the security that you have to go through. I think people are all amped up. They have to get there so much earlier than you did, in the days prior to 9/11, unless you have a real small little regional airport that you're flying out of. So you get all amped up on that. You're going through, do I pull out my laptop or don't I? Do I take off my shoes or don't I? The rules are always changing. And sometimes I have been in situations in airport security where I have two different people yelling at me with two completely opposite sets of directions. You don't need to take your laptop out. Take your laptop out. And if you got a longer, time where you're sitting around the airport, you go to the bar, you have a few drinks. Some people can't handle their liquor very well. And, so it's just a real cocktail of circumstances that I think doesn't always bring out the best in people. But I mean, after hearing yours,
we got a young man named Jason Swank sitting in row 38, seat D, and he has definitely been overserved. We're gonna have to turn this flight around. We're only an hour away from San Francisco, but we're going back.
I'm a dream passenger. You won't hear, as long as you keep the amber flowing, I am totally fine.
Well, that is very true, because here's the crazy thing. I did an experiment. I sat in the same exact seat flying there and flying back. I just wanted to take note of any inconsistencies or consistencies or what have you. Now, flying there, they were serving food for purchase. You can purchase these sandwiches, and they had this cheesy pizza sub kind of thing. I ordered one when they came to me, and I discovered I got the last one because you tried to get it. And they said, "Oh, well, we have the cheeseburger." And I could see the look on your face. Oh, airplane cheeseburger.
I knew I had a very short time out there. It was fly out Friday, fly back Sunday. And the last thing I wanted to do was end up getting sick off of airplane cheeseburger. And when they're making, and they're cooking meat or warming up meat or whatever it is that they're doing, I just didn't want to take any chances with anything.
I think that's how everyone feels. So then when you see like pizza melt, you're like, oh, how can they screw this up? I mean, this is good plain food. Right. But a cheeseburger, what are you talking about?
Who got food poisoning on a pizza melt? That's impossible.
So you then said, well, what else you got? And they said, well, we got these little like cracker plates or whatever. And you're like, forget all that. And then you're like, Jack Daniels, double, please. Yeah. And she's like, oh, sir, I'm the food cart. The drink cart's coming. And I was like, oh, there's Swank, man. He's going to be asking every person who has a United Airlines uniform on for Jack Daniels.
For Jack Daniels, yeah.
For the entire flight. And so that happened, but I mean, didn't you get some sass from someone for ordering a drink
I got
on
the
plane?
stink eye. I got the stink eye from the flight attendant because it was, in her mind, it was relatively early. I think we took off shortly before 10 a.m. So, but you know what? I mean, look, everybody has their own thing, and I know what chills me out and relaxes me. And like I said, I'm a dream passenger. Just let me. Yeah, just let me.
No,
get
you
a
are.
little,
You're fine.
Yeah,
you're fine. Yeah. You don't cause any problems. But my experiment. So I'm sitting in the same seat flying back. And this is after we had to sit there for like 3 hours. So everyone's pretty hungry on this plane. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. But half the plane left, and only about a third of that half came back for the flight. So there was room. There was some
I love
space.
that. Yeah.
But I figured people would be hungry, so they would start snatching up all that food that they had for sale. And when they got to me, there'd be nothing but crackers, and I'd be pissed about that. And so they got to me, though, and they did have the pizza melt still. And so I got it.
You got it
and
twice.
Then twice. And the guy sitting next to me at the window, he's like, pizza melt, please. And she's like, I'm sorry, sir, we're all out. I'm like, I did it again. I did it again. So if you ever fly United and you want to get that pizza melt, you better be making sure you're sitting in a seat higher than row 37, seat D. Because E and F, they went hungry both trips. And then, Jason, you were in row 38. You didn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the food desert.
For me. No,
that's the food. But, I mean, how dare they? They should have enough for everyone. They should have a surplus of that stuff.
You're flying across the country. It's a 4+ hour flight. They should have some food on there. Now, the flight attendant, what was frustrating for me was she just pointed to the menu. And then she kept saying, because they give these, like, little pithy names. You know, like, we've got the runway box, and that's available for $4.99. And then, we got, the altitude platter. It's like, well, what is that? I don't know what that is. She tells me like I know, and then she just points to the menu. It's like, oh, yeah, sorry. So, I didn't. My things were all somewhat, well, the first big traveling mishap for me was self-inflicted. Is I left my iPad on the plane. So I flew from Akron, Canton to Chicago, and I the night before, because I'm kind of a nervous flyer, I made sure that I had loaded up my iPad with TV shows and movies and stuff to just transport me, mentally out of that tube of potential death and horror. So I was all loaded up. And for whatever reason, I was just checking to make sure everything downloaded okay. And then I made the cardinal mistake of taking that iPad and sticking it down in that little pocket right in front of me, in the seat ahead. And my connections both ways were fairly tight. So I get off the plane and I'm heading to the gate to meet you, Jim, and then we're going to fly from O'Hare to San Francisco. And I'm about halfway to the connection gate. And my watch goes off saying that I've left my iPad behind. Oh, I've left my iPad behind. So I'm walking to I know I only have time to do one of two things. I can go back and retrieve my iPad, miss my flight to San Francisco, or I can just keep going and try to find, create some sort of lost item claim or something with the airline. So I'm trying to do that while I'm walking to the gate. They don't do anything over the phone. You have to it's an electronic a form that you have to fill out and then, take their word for it. But when you lose an item like an iPad or anything with any kind of like tracking, it's so frustrating because you can watch all weekend, Jim. I watched my iPad sit at O'Hare Airport. I'm still looking at my iPad sitting in somewhere at O'Hare Airport. Really? But I can't talk to a human being. Every couple of days I get a text saying, we're still looking for your lost item. Well, I know where it is. I could draw him a goddamn map. But this was the worst part. This was insult to injury because as I was getting on to the plane with you, and I didn't have my iPad loaded up with entertainment, I thought, well, I have my laptop. I'll just get on Wi-Fi and all will be well. No sooner do I step foot on that plane I guess we should call him, he wasn't a flight attendant. He was more like an MC. He was like a radio DJ, this guy.
That guy did not shut up the entire flight. The guy is constantly on the intercom plugging the United app non-stop. How many times could he do that?
I just want to invite y'all to check out the United app.
Oh, yeah. He was one of those guys, too, who just loved the sound of his voice and hearing it come through the speaker.
Yeah, you want to check out your connection with the United app. It's an easy app to download. You can just go to the App Store and do a search for United. It's spelled UNITED. TED. And then you hit download, and sometimes it's a little cloud. That means you've already downloaded, and you need to re-download it again.
I'm like, oh my God, would you shut up? I'm trying to enjoy my pizza melt, and you're not stopping talking.
But the first thing that he told us is,
we'd like to apologize, but we're not going to be able to offer Wi-Fi on this plane. So we'd invite you to download any business documents that you need.
So now I realize I don't even have I don't have my iPad with all my stuff downloaded. I don't have. So I'm hurriedly trying to download something from YouTube, something long. So
what did you get?
What? Yeah, I got a couple of podcasts, but I'm not going to plug other podcasts on this podcast.
No. We don't have to be.
There are no other podcasts. But
you got some podcasts.
So that was the flight out there. Just one quick story on the flight back. It was a very tight connection. It was 40 minutes getting from O'Hare, when I got to O'Hare to get to my connection to Akron Canton, and that's a big airport. And there's about 31 gates in each of the different terminals.
Yeah.
And I landed at gate C6, and my connection was at F29.
Yikes.
No, so
off to the races.
And thanks, to the United app, I knew that it was a 21-minute walk from C6 to F29.
Ooh,
but you're sitting there waiting, you're taxiing, and you're seeing that time just click away, click away, click away. So now all of a sudden I was in a situation where I had a 21-minute commute to the gate, and I had 12 minutes to make it. So I'm flying. I'm flying. Because I didn't wear a belt, because you don't want to wear a belt when you're flying. You don't have to take off your belt. My pants are falling down. I'm like Mark Hamill. My pants are falling down. I said a skosh. My pants are falling down. I'm on the people mover. And of course, you get the people mover. No one's moving on the people mover. So I'm so out. I made it, though. I made it. I was so out of breath. I got onto the plane. I asked the flight attendant, I said, can I have a water? Have a water, please. She's like, sir, are you okay? I just need a water. So I finally sit down in my seat. I'm like, yes, I did it. I made it. And the pilot comes on and says that due to some planes landing late, we're going to hold back for another 15 to 20 minutes. So my whole mad dash was totally unnecessary.
Well, you have
but
to
I've
look.
gotten bit by that before, where you think surely they'll hold the plane.
No, they never will. They the hell with you. What you have to look for is that door closing. If that door is closed, it doesn't matter how long you're sitting out there. Nobody is getting on that plane. Right. So if that door is closed, and they tend to be sticklers about that kind of thing. Sometimes they don't even understand what the delays are going to be, but the door has closed.
Oh, in this case, they let that door open for a good 25 minutes just for anybody else that was trying to just meander their way through. And then I had a lady next to me, very large woman, and she kept falling asleep, but she had the Jimmy legs and the Jimmy arms. So she would, when you had that falling dream? So she would be hitting me in the chest. Like that. And then she woke up and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I haven't slept for 24 hours, so I might doze off. She snored like a bear, like a chainsaw, the whole, hour flight back to, thank God it was only a quick flight. It was up and down, but it was, flying and traveling just sucks. It has to be something you're really wanting to do. So when you look at a crowd of 100 plus RFR P1s, our top Patreon supporters, all the VIPs, and know that so many of them went through stories like we just told Jim, to be there with us and be there at Rancho Obi-Wan. It really means a lot. It really does. It means a lot, because traveling is not fun.
No. And if you have any travel horror stories about your trip to Rancho Obi-Wan, leave it on our voicemail at no. Forget it. We got to get back to talking wars.
We're going to talk the wars.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do for the rest of this show.
In the Star Wars trilogy, the rebellion fought against the tyrannical empire. Now a marketing empire has us running in circles for a pristine version of a figure 50,000 people already have. Price guides and eBay auctions have us all believing we'll be Steven Sansweet, but we won't.
Rebel Force Radio.
Can we show off a few of the items as we get into our Rancho recap? And people were so kind with all the great swag and the tchotch and the merch that they made. I just want to show off a few of my favorites. Jim, you posted this recently over on Patreon, but the cigars, the Rancho Obi-Wan Rebel Force Radio cigars were amazing.
Go full screen
Love
on that, so I can see the actual.
So there you go. And who was it? Who made these? Was it
Kurt Bear? VIP Kurt Bear. Yeah.
So Kurt had a huge humidor full of these things, and he also had some of the bands that he had custom printed. And I really wanted to get some of the bands, but it was so crazy at the after party. It was kind of hard, and the music was rocking, and I wanted to get some more, but I have this one. I am going to smoke it, and I'll definitely be saving the band. I think Jeff Holland was passing out these little guys,
Ian Savage.
Ian Savage. Okay.
Yes.
So these are the.
See, it's good. I'm glad you have all the swag, because I believe it or not, I still have yet to unpack.
Oh no, really?
Right. No, my luggage is sitting right outside this door here. It's just sitting on the floor, open with a bunch of stuff strewn about. But I still have not unpacked. So some of the swag I received, I don't even know what's in there. So maybe you're going to be
you're going to have a lot of this stuff. I actually created a little shelf just dedicated to the Rancho event with all the swag behind me. But this is cool. So it's a little 3D printed egg in homage of the chicken, the chicken farm, the chicken ranch that Rancho Obi-Wan sits on. Says Rebel Force Radio live from Rancho Obi-Wan.
That's
some
sweet.
Orabesh on there.
That.
It's very, very cool. Rich Brendel was handing out these little 3D printed lunch boxes. These were really cool. So this is the from the Ewoks cartoon. Well, it's kind of looking like the Ewoks. Actually, no, I'll take that back. This is the Return of the Jedi lunchbox with Wicket and R2. I did not have this one, but I remember this being out. It's kind of an illustrated style. And then on the back, it's got the Rebel Force Radio logo. But the one that really excited me was this one, because this is the lunchbox I had. So this is the Return of the Jedi lunchbox with that Macquarie art of Luke pointing his blaster at Jabba after he takes it from one of Jabba's minions. And the coolest part of this is Jimmy Mack got me the real thing. So
that's right.
Now I've got the mini lunchbox and then the real lunchbox. So Rich was giving those out. And then I don't remember who it was that had the challenge coins.
That would have been Eric from Phoenix.
Cool. Oh, that was Eric.
Phoenix.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So Eric from Phoenix with the challenge coins. One side says Rebel Force Radio, your source for the Force, no fan left behind. And the other side says Rancho Obi-Wan Rebel Force Radio, and had the date of the event, September 6th, 2025. And there were two different versions. There was a gold one and a silver one. They're absolutely beautiful. I love challenge coins. They're just they're so cool.
Very cool.
So love that. And and then
the gold one was for the VIPs and for Steve Sansweet.
And so VIPs and Steve Sansweet. And then I love the wine glasses that was given out for the Skywalker wine pouring.
Oh, wow.
Rancho Obi-Wan, Rebel Force Radio 2025 live podcast fundraiser, and everybody got their name on it. That was so cool. So love that. It was so classy, and all the volunteers. I mean, they just put on. They know how to do these, if I may say, swanky affairs. And I just love that you're out there in the mountains of Petaluma and drinking wine, and it was just amazing. It was such an amazing time. You guys are so generous with all the swag.
I want to point out, yes, and there was other swag. Jeff Holland had great Rancho Obi-Wan RFR patches he handed out.
That's
really
what Jeff
cool.
had. Those are over there on the shelf. Yeah.
Boston Dan whipped up these funky little RFR action figure tributes.
Oh, yeah.
There's you, me, Puppet Lando, and
Steve
Sansweet. Yeah. All vintage carded, and tiny, little tiny things. Those are a couple that I remember off the top of my head. Of course, there were great swag bags handed out to each and every attendee from Rancho Obi-Wan that had Saga shirts in it and other Rancho Obi-Wan swag. I was trying to get rid of our back inventory of RFR trading cards that we originally had printed for Star Wars Celebration 2017. I still, but you guys snatched up a bunch of those, so I'm happy. The Sheldon Norton card is the one that's hard to find, and I understand the reason why that is. I believe I gave Sheldon a large supply of those cards for himself, so it turned out then, So that's the Chase card. The Sheldon Norton one is the rarity.
Well, I actually texted his son Chase and told him that night that I said, your old man is the Chase card, Chase. So, he said, he's like, I think Dad has a whole box of those somewhere.
Yeah, I know he does. What I didn't realize, though, is by giving those to Sheldon, there's a puzzle on the back of the trading cards. So when you put them all together, the puzzle backs create an image of you, me, and Filoni in front of the Yoda fountain. And I should have kept that in mind before I gave Sheldon a large portion of the supplies. So there's a lot of incomplete puzzles back out there right now. And sadly, I think, Jason, it's your face on the back of the card, too.
I think I'm the missing face. This is not Rancho Obi-Wan, but just a quick shout out to RFR listener Matthias. He sent me, he said he was doing some cleaning out, and he, like me, is also a big pro wrestling fan, and he's got all these vintage magazines, wrestling scrapbook, wrestling, some of these, they were the indie magazines. Yes. And they're all on like card backs, and in these plastic covers and some books and stuff like that. So very, very cool. Thank you, Matthias. I really appreciate you thinking of me as you were taking out the garbage. But well, you know what? One man's trash, another man's treasure. So I'm going to look forward to skimming through these magazines from the 80s and early 90s. So appreciate it.
And of course, Kurt Bear had not only the cigars, but he created this incredible poster print of his custom Star Wars tattoo art. And there's a lot of Rebel Force Radio Easter eggs mixed in within all of that. He had a small supply of those prints. So I think they largely went to RFR VIPs. And Steve Sansweet then got the original. So we were able to be there. I meant to have that as part of the show, quite honestly. But Kurt came backstage with us in the green room after we were done with the show and did the big presentation to Steve, and it was just great, man.
It was awesome. I mean, that is going up here in the studio. I just got to get the right frame for it. Yes. For sure, because all the different memes and inside jokes and stuff over the years, very funny stuff. And Steve was just like, Steve just seemed so bemused by the whole thing, the whole RFR thing. Because I know he's been, kind of, he and Ann have talked about how the number one referral to Rancho Obi-Wan in terms of tours are people that say, we heard about you on Rebel Force Radio. They say it all the time. But they've never had that big of a dose of RFR as they did with all those listeners. And they just really seemed blown away, and we owe that all to everybody because, as we say, you're the best in the whole galaxy, and they were very impressed. Yeah,
it was that kind of night. It was true family vibes. So we have some voicemail we can listen to, some listener feedback, and let's hear what some of the attendees had to say about the event.
You must contact me.
Play back the entire message.
What message?
Message after the message.
The Emperor commands you to make contact with him. It's a trick. Send no reply.
Hey guys, this is Ian Savage from Cleveland, Ohio. I just wanted to call in with a quick message and give my 2 cents on Rancho Obi-Wan. I mean, first I just want to thank you two for getting the idea and organizing this whole event and making it happen and bringing us all together. But of course, mainly, I want to thank Rancho Obi-Wan for having our raucous crew in their quiet Petaluma neighborhood. It was so amazing. It is an event that it'll never be erased from my memory. It was amazing. It was a culmination of years of work and friendship between RFR and Rancho Obi-Wan. And yeah, it was just great. I just mainly want to say thank you for the new friends I made at this event and the friends I've had for years that I've met through this show. One last thing. Can't wait for the next meetup, be it Forest Moon, Mando and Grogu, or Celebration LA, or the Lucas Museum, or hopefully we can get a show or some sort of thing back in Cleveland. Wink, wink. Anyway, it's going down. I'll be there, guys, and can't wait for it. But I guess may the Force be with you too, and may the Force be with everybody listening.
Thanks, Ian. That was great. Yeah, the future is bright with potential fodder for RFR live meetups. As he said, we've got Mandalorian and Grogu. We've got the Lucas Museum. We've got Star Wars Celebration in 2027. We've got Starfighter also in 2027. The re-release of A New Hope in 2027. I mean, you just never know.
You never know. And we know that the RFR community stretches coast to coast. So that makes it possible to target just about anywhere we want to go to do a show. And yeah, we've been offered conventions and things like that. And it seems like that's beginning to happen more and more often. But I don't know. I think me and Jason have been there, done that. And we're looking for more original, fresh, unique formats of doing live podcasting. Rancho Obi-Wan being one of them. The 5 shows we did at Forest Moon Festival being another one of them. These are the kind of things that really excite us. So if we can get everybody together for Mandalorian and Grogu next year, or the opening of the Lucas Museum, or a return to the Forest Moon, or whatever, that's the type of stuff we're interested in doing, you know. We're in our 20th year of this thing. And for us, conventions, like I said, been there, done that.
Hey, Jason, Jimmy, hope you guys are doing well. Just want to reach out and express how grateful I am for this past 2 weekends ago. Just had a wonderful time getting to meet a bunch of awesome Star Wars fans, just people who love Star Wars for the sake of it being Star Wars. And I had so much fun at the ranch. I can't even begin to express how grateful I am for the opportunity, whether it was getting to meet a bunch of people or even having a Jawa try and steal my name tag or getting a ticket from a stormtrooper. Everything was incredible, and I'm just very, very thankful for you guys, for all that you guys do for the community, and I want to go back. I want to go back so flippin' bad, and thank Puppet Landa for me. His performance was fantastic. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Martin. Appreciate it. You know, I was perched as the gates, the doors opened officially to the museum, right there in the sort of that main area where you come down the stairs after you get your initial look at the posters and all of that. And I loved being there because when those doors opened, I loved seeing the expressions on people's faces when they come down. So it was a great place to be. And I think I greeted pretty much everybody that walked through the doors, which was awesome. And, but just that look, we actually got a picture of Tyler because he got to go through the museum the day before for the first time. And he just has this kind of, Dorothy and Oz kind of look, but that expression was universal. Everybody had it. And I would see it. And there were a couple of times, didn't happen very often, but there were a couple of times that I'd say, "Oh, yeah, first time here." And they'd be like, "No, I've been here before." But they still are completely enamored by the place. Because
I'm the same way.
Jim, you never stop noticing new things, ever.
Right. And there was a lot of new things. Steve really enjoys the fan-made items. I believe he calls it Star Wars folk art. Steve always has a way of putting attaching a title to something we do as fans, as collectors, as passionate Star Wars fans. He always has a way of putting some kind of like title on it that really makes it feel super legit. And Star Wars folk art, he definitely has a lot of that. I really like those cool new wooden action figures he has, plywood heroes, I think they're called. And Yeah, that look. I know I have that look on my face when I walk in there every time. Hey, can I go back to a statement I made before this voicemail played about conventions?
Yes.
Because I basically said the same rap to Tyler when we were out in California. And he goes, well, what about Star Wars Celebration? He gave me this puppy dog look. Well, what about Star Wars Celebration? Are you sick of all the conventions? Number one, I'm not sick of the conventions, but I'm not prioritizing them as a place to do a podcast from, because it's just such a mad shuffle of energy and activity that I just don't feel comfortable anymore doing a podcast from a convention.
No, and there's a lot to it. You got to schlep gear, and then you're dealing with God knows who that's running these rooms, and it's just
the characters we've met over the years. And the power trips they've been on. But so Tyler looked at me and said, well, what about Star Wars Celebration? And I said, well, no, that stays in the mix. So, as far as, it's 2 years from now. I don't know. I might change my mind. But I haven't missed a stateside Star Wars Celebration. The only one I missed was the very first one in Colorado, and that's because my wife was 9 months pregnant. I wasn't going anywhere, pal. So I might. And back then, the idea of getting on an airplane and going somewhere for Star Wars wasn't exactly at the forefront of most people's minds. It was a different time back then.
And look at
the world
you
is
now.
a smaller place now. And look at us now. We embrace it. But yeah, Star Wars Celebration still in the mix. I'll be if we're doing a podcast, it won't be from the convention, as it hasn't been for years and years. It will be from a venue, hopefully close by. Who knows? We're in LA now, so so I'm throwing it out there. You know any good venues close to the convention center or whatever? It's time to start working on it now. I'll throw that. I'll even commit. Now, if you have a good venue that you think would be good for Rebel Force Radio, suggest it to us, and we'll put it in the mix.
Chut, and what's up, RFR? This is Devin R. from Tracy, California. I am still beyond stoked over how incredible the Rancho Obi-Wan and Rebel Force Radio podcast fundraiser went. I don't want to gush over it too much, but, well, no, actually, I am going to gush over it. It was easily in the top 10 best nights of my life. I met so many awesome people and conversed with as many of those people as I could. And it was so fun to put faces to names of all the colorful characters of the RFR Patreon community. And man, I cannot say enough about how great the sense of community was at this event. We were saying it loud and saying it proud all over the place. I've never been to Rancho Obi-Wan before, and I have to say, I think I skipped the playoffs and went straight to the Super Bowl of events at Ro. Totally spoiled, totally enchanted, and totally going back. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you for the podcast. Thank you for the community. And thank you for the event at Rancho Obi-Wan. May the Force be with you. And McClunky.
I kind of like that as the sign-off. It is Greedo's last words, so why not let it be your last words? McClunky.
Well, it does. It is. Yeah, it does put like a punctuation at the end of the sentence, at the end of the rap that he was giving us. I recall meeting Devin that night, and real nice guy, real good guy.
Yeah,
and
I like that he called it the Super Bowl of Rancho events, right? He went right to the top with
True. You know what, though? It is as close to a Rebel Force Radio convention that we've ever done. I honestly
really
think.
Was. You're right. Yeah. You're right. There was merch, right? There was all kinds of artifacts and things to look at, obviously, at the museum. You had, and my God, the food was much better than anything you'd get at a convention. That's
so true. We had a few cosplayers, a Stormtrooper, a Jawa, and Baby Belushi. And the Wilros. The Wilros were there. Yeah,
You're right. It was very much like RFR Con. I like the sounds of that, by the way.
Maybe someday. Who knows? Again, I just did a rap about being sick of conventions, and now RFR Con is in the mix.
If we have our own, that's a whole different thing, right? If we're calling the shots.
Right,
we're talking about other people's conventions.
Exactly.
But so much of what happened last weekend was made possible because of our incredible supporters over on Patreon, and it is really such an important hub for the RFR community, and there's always something exciting going on. Of course, all of the fallout in terms of photos and videos and everything, that's all available for Patreon members. But Jim, what else is going on these days over on Patreon?
Okay, so this has been like one of the busiest periods last 2 weeks on Patreon. I thought I would need a break after RFR at Rancho Obi-Wan, but I certainly did not take one. I've been just poring over listener photos. So many listeners sent us photos of the event, and I created a bunch of photo galleries, RFR at Rancho Obi-Wan through the eyes of ... So we have several RFR VIPs and Patreon supporters flooding our email inbox with all of these great photos. So it really puts you in the moment. I mean, people are sending us photos from everything from the sightseeing they did in the Bay Area to visits to Lucasfilm headquarters to pictures in front of the Yoda fountain and, of course, the grounds at Rancho Obi-Wan, the incredible museum there, and all of the attendees that were there. And the friendships. You can almost see friendships coming to the surface via all of these photos. And that's, again, something I'm very proud of. So we have a lot of photo galleries there. Plus, we also have been releasing bonus podcasts like crazy this week. 3 episodes of RFR Q&A, 1 episode of RFR RPG, and of course, you're getting the weekly show. We release the full show video from the Rancho Obi-Wan event. And of course, that's available to anyone who wants to watch it on YouTube. Also, don't forget, we released our final full show from the Forest Moon Festival. This one live from Sequoia Park Zoo, featuring Kyle Newman, Kevin Thompson, his wife Tracy McCoy Thompson, representing the Ewoks appropriately in the Andor Forest, where we were actually broadcasting from. And that's something you want to check out as well. I mean, so within all of this Rancho Obi-Wan madness, we're still releasing content from the Forest Moon Festival. But trust us, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We've released everything from the Forest Moon Festival, and each and everything we release is well worth your time. So we have 3 RFR Q&As happening this week. The first one is with Eric from Phoenix, as he gives us his full RFR at Rancho Obi-Wan recap. Eric from Phoenix is a leader in the Rebel Force radio community, and his recap is well worth listening to. And then we had RFR RPG number 28, The Adventures of Podcastus in Grando the Grand continue. And we moved into RFR Q&A number 264, Badass Boba Fett. And this is with RFR VIP Eric Thorson, who is making his Q&A debut. He was with us out at Rancho Obi-Wan, and he presented Steve Sansweet this most amazing killer badass Boba Fett custom action figure that he painted, hand-painted it himself. It's a piece of artwork. It's going to be in the museum. He's a very talented guy, and he's a Star Wars fan who's his buddy actually has written Star Wars short stories for Random House and for comic book publishers like Dark Horse, and so he talks about the debates the two of them have. It's so much fun. And then on top of all that, Peter Beiser returns to the Q&A for RFR Q&A number 265, and in that show, we go deep into the poster art of Return of the Jedi. And good old Peter Beiser, he has acquired these exclusive interviews with a couple of the creators of that incredible Return of the Jedi poster, Swank, that you're very familiar with.
Oh, yes.
Because we used it as the logo for our prior podcast, The Forcecast. It was your idea. The 2 hands held overhead holding a lightsaber. We turned that into a grill microphone, and that became the logo for our podcast back in the day, back in our early days of podcasting. And so Peter talks to the creators of that actual Return of the Jedi poster that features that iconic image. And the trivia that gets uncovered is fascinating. And Peter Beiser also talked to Steve Sansweet about the posters as well. And Steve, sharp as ever, had great recall and was telling some stories and confirming and denying any questions that Peter might have had. So that's all happening at RFR on Patreon this week. It's one of the busiest weeks ever that I've had as a podcaster. And you know what? It's all like, just flicking it right off of my my shoulder. It's no big deal. I'm having a ball, and it's all coming so easy to me. I'm in a great groove right now. I've been so revitalized and re-energized by our hangout in Petaluma at Rancho Obi-Wan, and just being around all of you guys. It's just really sparked a fire under my butt, and I'm sure we'll be reaping the benefits of that throughout the fall, which is good news because there's not too much happening in Star Wars for the rest of the year. Now, of course, as this podcast drops this weekend, we're going to be having access to the new Lego Star Wars special, Rebuild the Galaxy, the sequel.
I hear it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow, it hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah, well, they leak it out to certain outlets and critics and things like that. So right now, those who have seen it, 100%.
So we got that. So we'll review that next week. Are you down with that?
Oh, I'm down with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I really did enjoy the first one. I thought it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember we talked to Sin last year about it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Pop star Sin.
Right.
Sin Newman. Is she taking on Kyle's name? Can we call her?
I think she's like Cher, where it's just Sin.
She's just Sin.
Yeah,
All right.
Sin.
I'm sorry I even broached the topic. But so in our conversation with her about Star Wars Lego, you can find that on YouTube, I believe, or just in our podcast.
Oh, it's on
feed.
YouTube. Yep. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
So that's what's going on. Maybe we should check back in with Sin again and get her review.
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe
they were at the big premiere the last time, so we'll see. I haven't seen anything online for a big whoop-de-doo, so I don't know if there was a premiere out there. I'm assuming they're having some sort of event.
Yeah, maybe it's happening as we speak here on this podcast.
Could be.
Our invite got lost in the mail again.
I mean, it happens. It's the post office,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I want to take a brief pause here in the action and thank our good friends over at Factor. Oh my God. I know Max his house has grown out of it, but we haven't. We still got back to school. Oh my gosh, busy schedules, lots of plans, and sometimes all I have is just a couple of minutes. The kids are coming and going. They've got activities and things, but Factor helps me and them eat smarter with tasty chef prep meals that are dietitian approved and delivered right to my doorstep. And now with more than 65 weekly meals for how I live and what I like to eat, what my family likes to eat, we've got even more ways to fit in a real meal wherever the day takes us. So more variety means more meals. You can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. You can support your wellness goals too. Enjoy even more GLP-1 friendly meals and the new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good for you fats. Savor global flavors. For the first time, you can try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. For more choices to better nutrition, that's why 97% of customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life. So feel the difference no matter your routine. We use Factor in our household, and you should too.
Absolutely. I love Factor. I love breakfast. A lot of people, they make fun of me. They're like, breakfast? Who cares about breakfast? Well, I do. And I happen to adore breakfast. Give me omelets. Give me skillets. Give me hash browns. Give me the good stuff. Give me pancakes. And guess what? Factor has breakfast. And there's a great deal that I'm going to tell you about in a few minutes. But what kind of breakfast am I talking about? I'm talking about sticky pecan pancakes. I'm talking about chorizo egg skillet. I'm talking about Creole egg and chicken and Dule sausage bowl. I scramble in the morning a lot of times trying to figure out what I'm going to, have for breakfast, have for lunch, have for dinner even. It's just meal planning sometimes can be stressful. I mean, it's weird to say that, but it can be stressful. And we want to remove all of that pressure with Factor. Our friends at Factor, they've been such great supporters of us here at Rebel Force Radio, and we want you to try out all of their great food because it's so worth it. I mean, the quality is there, and we're proud to have Factor as sponsors of Rebel Force Radio, and we want you to show your pride in RFR by supporting Factor. Eat smart at factormeals.com/RFR50 off. And use the code RFR50 off to get 50% off your first box. Half price. Now, here's the deal I was telling you about. Not only do you get your first box half price, but you get free breakfast for a year, for 1 full year. Free breakfast. That's code RFR50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Factormeals.com/RFR50 off.
I have good news for you, my lord.
That's good news. Come closer, I have good news.
All right, I believe this is an exclusive from Variety. No, it's not. It's actually, no, it was on social media. It was posted by, who was it that posted?
Shawn Levy himself.
Shawn Levy himself, right from the location. I would say set, but this is location. In the headline that Variety put to it, Star Wars Starfighter, first look, Ryan Gosling shows off tight pants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's looking at my tight pants. I got my tight pants. And an ocean location. So here he is from a galaxy far, far away, somewhere in the Mediterranean Sea. Director Shawn Levy has revealed the first look at Star Wars Starfighter. Blah, blah, blah. You guys know what Starfighter is. We don't have to tell you. And it features Ryan Gosling and newcomer Flynn Gray. This is a behind-the-scenes shot. And so check it out. What can we learn from this other than it looks like something in between Waterworld and Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I've yet to see.
All right.
I'm not just trying to pee in anyone's Cheerios here, but I've yet to see anything that looks like Star Wars so far in these two of the first two photos. I mean, yeah, we saw a speeder, but that was the black and white photo. That was the initial one that was released, and it too was Ryan and Flynn. But this here, I mean, if we kind of break it down, I mean, he's got some gloves on. Ryan Gosling. I mean,
so Star Wars. He's got some gloves.
He's got gloves. He's sort of wearing a Henley cut shirt. It's really hard to make out really much detail on this. He's got some sort of apparatus. He's either leaning on it, and it's part of the vessel, the seafaring vessel that they're on.
Well, is it?
Well, I can't tell.
I think what they have here are those look like handlebars to me, and it appears he's leaning on some sort of individual ocean transport device.
He's on a
that
jet
they
ski?
use
A space jet ski?
Possibly, yeah, yeah. And because the reason why I say I don't think that's part of the actual barge they're standing on, because you kind of can see part of this raft they're on behind Flynn a little bit. Flynn Gray.
Yeah.
And he's pictured here. And if you notice, there are handlebars behind Flynn as well. So I think Flynn is leaning up on his Star Wars jet ski. And I think Ryan is leaning on his Star Wars jet ski. And the raft that they're floating on, or maybe it's just part of
I
the boat.
gotcha. Yep.
Right.
Okay. Yep. So we can see here. This is the handlebar for Flynn's jet ski, and then these are the handlebars for Ryan's as
True.
well. Okay.
Now, nothing in this picture says Star Wars to you. Now, according to the headline from Variety, the thing that stands out the most is Ryan Gosling's tight pants. So they're kind of objectifying Ryan a little bit, but he's a Hollywood hunk, so I'm sure he can handle that.
It's
all right.
I don't know how she can tell that they're that tight from this. I mean,
I know he's standing on the other side of the handlebar, so it's partially blocking him. He's kind of leaning off to the side a little bit, and you only see it go down from like his waist to his upper thigh at the most. You can clearly see Flynn Gray's trousers a little bit more clearly, but I've seen several headlines, and maybe they're ripping off Variety, where they're screeching about his tight pants. And something tells me that the journalists who are doing that are the same journalists who have been shaming us for the last decade for showing mild appreciation for Princess Leia's metal bikini. Okay? And now you're going to throw, tight pants.
That. Yeah.
You're going to start throwing tight pants at us? How does it feel to be so hypocritical all the time? Tight pants, fine. But that's like the lowest priority in this photo. So guess what? Leia's metal bikini is back. I'm bringing it back. Well, I'm not bringing it back, but I'm just saying the appreciation for it. We shouldn't feel shamed anymore by any online entity.
But looking at Flynn's outfit here, I mean, I think my son wore this like yesterday. Like it looks like just a pair of like blue sweats and like a long sleeve T-shirt rolled up. I feel like if this is the first Star Wars movie to come out to the theaters in how many years? 7 years, and they've yet to show. It's almost like, are they afraid to make it look like Star Wars?
No, they're just shooting
away
it
from Star Wars.
Okay, all right. I got a few things I want to address based on the comments you just made. Number one, you're making the comparison to your son's fashion by looking at this kid's wardrobe. I'm making the comparison to your son's fashion by looking at Flynn Gray's hair. Because he's got the hair. And so just recently, Jason's son, Parker, awesome kid. What a cool kid. I've seen this kid grow up, and I can't believe how big he is now. And I saw this birthday photo because you guys were celebrating his birthday last week, and I saw him. It was the first picture I've seen of him in a little while, and the nest of follicles, the hair was just like, I'm so jealous of this kid.
He's half alpaca. Yeah.
Alpaca?
Yeah, they all have that. Alpacas, they're like a llama type thing, and they've got that like just that plop of curly hair right on top of their heads. It's all the rage for middle school boys.
Right, that's what you were saying. Like, this is the hair.
It's the hair, man.
But it's beyond bedhead. This is like tornado head, And Ryan Gosling kind of has sort of that bedhead look as well.
It's very tousled, yeah.
Very tousled. And so that's the popular fashion of the day. And of course, Star Wars has always respected the current hairstyles, despite the fact it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I mean, there were mad mutton chop sideburns in the 1977 film. And of course, Mark Hamill's feathered hair.
Yes.
I mean, what a sign of 1977 is that feathered hairdo on the surfer boy type guy. And Mark Hamill had that. So now in Star Wars Starfighter 2025, we're seeing some more contemporary hairstyles, I guess, it's just so funny that I'm seeing this kid's head right after you and me had a little back and forth on the text about big hair,
Big hair. Big hair
That's
is
what the kids like.
For boys. But it feels contemporary. It feels very today. Is that the direction visually that they're taking the franchise, or is that just Shawn Levy's take? What is it exactly?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, Star Wars was they featured contemporary fashions going all the way back to the original one in the 70s. So I don't have any hang up about that.
George claims he was trying to avoid fashion.
I know
with the original trilogy.
When it came to wardrobe.
Yeah. But hair, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Hair, he just kind of threw his hands up in the air. Well, what can I do? Hamill's gonna Hamill, Hamill's gonna Hamill. But again, this is not an official photo. It's just like a selfie, an iPhone shot that Shawn Levy.
No, I know, but he's obviously taking it and posting it online to promote the film. It's part of the promotion. And I just, I feel like they should, I don't mind this behind the scenes at all. I love it. I love behind the scenes stuff. But I think they should have launched with something that was very Star Wars and then come back around and show some of this behind the scenes stuff. I think they've got to just put the Star Wars brand all over this thing.
Well, here's the deal when it comes to the promotion of this film. If they go too hard right now, then they're just going to confuse audiences because The Mandalorian and Grogu is the next Star Wars film. So if they start hitting the Star Wars Starfighter stuff too hard and then Mandalorian and Grogu come on, I mean, it's like an odd way to, in a difficult way to maintain your like PR momentum, you know, your marketing momentum. So they're not ready to unleash the hounds quite yet. The way I look at this is kind of like, remember when Attack of the Clones was shooting and StarWars.com featured the George Lucas Selects photo? Yes. And they would come out like once or twice a week and it would just be some like random photo. And a lot of times you couldn't make heads or tails of what you were even seeing.
I remember the one of Hayden running.
Yeah, that was the first one,
yeah,
of course.
I think that was, yeah.
Yeah, when I saw that, I thought he was wearing the exact same wardrobe that Luke wore in Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, well, he's dressed like Luke. But, I mean, it was a blurry, hard-to-see photo. And as it turns out, I guess he was wearing something kind of similar to what Luke was wearing, but Luke didn't have all that leather. I'll tell you that right now. So,
no.
Vastly different.
Yeah. So... Anyway, it's nice to see. I think it's a better photo than the first one they released, the black and white. It was very stark, very hard to get any real detail out of it. There was a speeder vehicle that kind of helped elevate it and give it that Star Wars vibe. Even the background kind of had a little bit of, you could see it being in the galaxy far, far away. But this one, I mean, I don't want to steal FJ's joke, but when he sent this to us, he goes, Waterworld? And it does. I just hope they're not drinking their own pee in this one.
Yep. Which Kevin Costner famously did in Waterworld.
Yes.
After he filtered it, you know, and got
of course. Yeah,
of course. But yeah, it's hard to make it. I've seen some fans speculating on what planet this is. You know, they're on Mount Kala and stuff. Hey, I'm not doing that after the whole Jakku Tatooine debacle.
No way.
No way. But if there was a planet that was nothing but water, I think that would be a cool environment for a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Apparently, this was shot somewhere in the Mediterranean Sea near Sardinia, Italy. And, you know, and some are obviously drawing making the juxtaposition between sand planets in, Star Wars, the history of all the sand planets, and now a complete water planet. Is that what's going to happen here? I would like to see that.
I would too. I think that's cool.
Nothing but water.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be connected to Mon Cala or anything like that. Make it a new place. So that's an interesting first look. It's just kind of a candid shot taken in between shooting. So it's not like a still photo or anything, nor is it a publicity shot by any means. Is he wearing No, I thought he was Ryan Gosling was wearing AirPods, but he's not.
No.
Well, you see the thing, or not AirPods even, just like the
headphones of some sort,
cord.
Yeah,
but that's not it.
Oh, wait a minute. Look here. News alert here. Do you see that zipper on that glove? Look at that. That is out there, man.
Zipper. Oh, that is a zipper. You see the zipper
the pull.
Zip?
The pull, the pull on it, yeah.
Man, they used to make those in the neighborhood I grew up in. It was called YKK Zipper, or it was YYK Zipper. I can't remember, but it was just right down the street from me when I grew up. It's like, well, that's where they make those.
That's where they made zippers.
Yeah, that's the zipper place. So it's where Mom, where do zippers come from? That was one of my first questions. But
now, I will say that Flynn's gloves are reminiscent of Han's gloves in A New Hope when he's working on the Falcon. They're sort of that kind of beigey brown, light brown. Yeah.
They appear to be fingerless. They appear to be fingerless.
Oh, maybe they are fingerless. Oh, just the tips. I'm seeing
tips.
just the tips of his fingers there.
The tips look weird.
Whereas Hans, I don't think he had the tips showing. I think they were
Put your
regular
tips
gloves.
away.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are speculating about Star Wars Starfighter, and one of those people is a loyal RFR listener, Bryn from New Zealand. You know, we have RFR listeners all over the globe, and Bryn from
We have
New
friends
Zealand's
everywhere.
checking in. Yes, exactly. And Bryn has some Starfighter speculation he wants to lay on us.
Hey, Chut, Jimmy and Jason, how you going? This is Bryn from New Zealand. Had a little theory about Starfighter. I think the sequel trilogy left some gaps and some things to be explained, so hopefully this will start to expand on that. And I think we might get the core group of people in this might be the handful of students that Kylo Ren escaped with. Amy Adams being one of them, probably pregnant at the time without knowing it. School was destroyed in 28 ABY, and this is set 40 ABY, so that'd be 12 years, so I think that's good timing for the kid's age. Not sure if she'll be Kylo Ren's love interest, or, well, Ben Solo's love interest, or Luke, maybe Luke's love interest. I think it wouldn't be, maybe they've listened to Mark Hamill and given him even more tragic backstory that he didn't tell Rey, and there was a woman and a child involved, and that's, that led to him breaking even more than just losing his whole school. Give him a bit more tragedy, a bit more reason to abandon the Force completely. And then I think Amy Adams will die early on in the film, but she'll die saving the child and getting the kid to Uncle Ryan Gosling. And as we all know, the best way to hide a Force-sensitive child from an evil empire is to send them to your uncle. So, yeah, let me know what you think. High ground.
High ground.
I like a lot of what he's saying. I mean, I like everything that he's saying, really. So thanks, Bryn. I appreciate it. I do struggle with these theories that has this movie intricately stitched into the lore. I just don't see that happening. I don't see Knights of Ren and deep cuts like that. And I know for us, that's not a deep cut, but for, Joe and Jane Public, that's a deep cut. So if you're going to tie this into the lore, I think it's going to be big, broad strokes. I don't think it's going to be these little Easter eggs. I don't think they're going to waste their time. Honestly, I don't think this film is going to be, from a story perspective, stitched into the lore to really any degree. I think I'm going to take them at their word that this is a standalone film, and that's it. It just happens to be set in the galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, and I think that's something that they're really trying to achieve with this film. I think, on the contrary, it's actually going to lay the groundwork for some future storytelling, as opposed to building upon the past. As opposed to building upon the past, it's going to create a foundation for the future. And I think this kid, Flynn Gray, he might be playing a big role in that. If they want to keep developing his character, I mean, the sky's the limit for him. He's like 16 years old, so forget about it. He's going to be around for a while, and that could be something that happens. But yeah, all the tie-ins to Kylo Ren even, and, the attempt to try to fill in some of the blanks from the sequels. It appears like the comic books is more or less doing that now. There also is an audiobook, a Rey audiobook, that tells the story about what she was up to between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, which I also think might apply some canon salve to those wounds that some of us fans have, and actually might help us create a more cohesive story around the framework that already exists for the sequel trilogy, with its obvious gaping holes that can be filled in. But I don't think Star Wars Starfighter is going to be filling in any of those holes.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, it's interesting because you've got this film, you got Mando and Grogu. You also have what we assume are going to be episodes 10, 11, and 12. So they're really creating, I think, 3 parallel tracks, and they've already committed to 3 films with the sequels, with the sequels. But I wonder if this is in some way an insurance policy. Like, well, we're going to shoot this off and we'll see if this thing has legs. If it does, we're going to focus on these characters. We're going to get Mando and Grogu out there and establish them. There's already been rumors, Jim, that could potentially be a trilogy at some point. And then, there's the actual trilogy that's in early development. So I wonder if this is a little bit of trying to cover a lot of bases here. And at the very least, it could be just more of this exercise of Star Wars for everyone. If you like this type of movie, you'll like Mando and Grogu. If you like this type of thing, you're going to like Starfighter. If you're a Star Wars maybe traditionalist, you're going to like 10, 11, and 12. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know either. Again,
is.
that just amplifies my statement about Star Wars suffering from an identity crisis. And I would like to see more consistency. I don't find much merit in creating all of these like different bastardized versions of Star Wars to appeal to different segments of society. I think they should be thinking big picture and universal, because that's what Star Wars has always been. That's the heart of Star Wars, is the mixing pot in which George Lucas put all of these different storytelling elements from all different vast places of history and society and culture. And he mixed it all up in his mixing pot and created Star Wars in an attempt to make it universal. Now it's like we're just going to make this Star Wars for them and that Star Wars for those guys.
Right.
And, so that's like, again, it's like a schizophrenic approach.
Well, it's certainly not a way.
You have to have consistency.
Yeah, it's certainly not a way to create this sort of communal experience either, which is everybody's experiencing these things together sort of at the same time.
Yeah.
And it also goes against something that I know you and I both have been asking for, is pick a place in the timeline and sit there for a while and tell some great stories in that.
Let's grind.
Instead of jerking people all over the place, which they've done on the streaming shows, and now it seems like they're going to be doing that on the big screen with movie audiences, which is typically a more general audience.
Yeah. Yeah, and so nobody is going to feel like they have their footing anymore when it comes to Star Wars. And it seems like they're prioritizing smaller pieces of the pie as opposed to prioritizing the pie.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah. We've heard vastly different things. It's like Kathleen Kennedy says, well, I want Star Wars to be for everyone. But what she means by that is she wants certain Star Wars to be for certain people. It's never one big umbrella covering all of the fandom. It's a bunch of little cocktail umbrellas being handed out to people, and then she says, well, everyone has a cocktail umbrella now. Well, wait a second. Wasn't it more of a unifying and communal experience to have us all under that umbrella?
Yeah.
I think it was.
I think so too. More is not always more, but we're going to be covering it. We're going to be talking about it. And we're going to be having a blast because it's going to be a heck of a ride as all of this new content comes at us, these films. And, of course, we've got the Darth Maul animated series. And, as you mentioned, Jim, the Lego piece that's come out. So, yeah.
Star Wars Visions.
Star Wars Visions. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll take any piece of the pie they want to serve. I'm not talking about me on this rant. I'm just thinking about the health of the franchise and the universal appeal of Star Wars, because it was created as something that was supposed to have universal and unifying appeal.
Yes. All right. Well, huge congratulations to the cast, the crew, everyone behind Andor. Andor Season 2 took home 5 Emmys, which is just phenomenal. Best editing, best visual effects, best costume design, best production design, and the big one for Star Wars at least, is outstanding writing for a drama series. 14 nominations for this second season, and it was so cool to see Star Wars take home not just the gold, but take it for writing, which Star Wars, has sort of notoriously been sort of a punching bag when it comes to the writing department. But man, not when the Gilroys are in charge. That's for sure.
Absolutely not. And, the writing definitely deserved some sort of recognition, but it's still a criminal crime that there weren't more acting noms for that show. Stellan Skarsgård, Genevieve O'Reilly. The list goes on and on. I mean, even Diego Luna, Luna, I mean, all of them should have been nominated. It was clearly one of the top shows
for an ensemble show. It's hard because it really was an ensemble show, but Diego had that whole series on his shoulders, and he did it with such grace and class and turned in one knockout performance after another with that character. He just was awesome. And of course, so was Genevieve O'Reilly and Stellan Skarsgård. Yeah, it just goes on. They all could have been nominated, and they all could have won, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the only guy who did get any recognition as far as a nomination goes is Forrest Whitaker, and he appeared in like 2 episodes, and he had probably the most name recognition out of all the names we've already mentioned. And, it's just the typical Hollywood bias, anti-Star Wars bias. And because they're all mad because George Lucas was anti-Hollywood. Yeah. So it's almost like, one hand washes the other.
I think George is.
So,
yeah.
So Dan Gilroy accepted the Emmy for Outstanding Writing for a drama series, and we have his acceptance speech here, and he speaks with the typical kind of off-the-cuff, laid-back sort of Gilroy approach, much like his brother does in the interviews that we've heard him in.
I think a lot of people are surprised. It was unexpected. Obviously, we have friends everywhere. I want to thank the fans who did more than watch the show. They listened, they cared, and they made a story about ordinary people fighting impossible odds possible. This was very special because I got to work with both my brothers on the show, Tony Gilroy, the showrunner and the creator. It's all you, Tony. My brother John, who's an editor and a producer. And I very much want to thank Bob Iger for his vision, Kathy Kennedy for supporting the show from its inception, Zana Wallenberg, who did 5 years of incredible producing, an amazing cast, and to Genevieve O'Reilly, whose incomparable talent and heart brought the episode to life. Thank you to my wife and my daughter, Renee and Rose. I don't have words to describe how much I love them. Thank you.
Yeah, so big shout out. I love the fact that Dan, the first group that he thanked was the fans right out of the gate before anybody else. So I love that. And he's right to do that because without the fans, it wouldn't have happened at all.
No, this is true, obviously. He did give a shout out to Bob Iger to sound of silence in the room. And he did. It was just like you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And then he thanked Kathy Kennedy. She got a smattering of applause, And he did a pretty good job. He kept it to exactly 1 minute. See, that's that Gilroy, being absolutely precise. That's the Gilroy thing. They probably said, keep your speech to 1 minute. And so he did. Even though we're going to hear in these post interviews after he won that he was nervous. And he says he didn't really have anything prepared, but I think he did. When Tony was giving his speech, he kept saying Genevieve was great in the episode. So what was the specific episode Dan Gilroy accepted?
It was the second to the last episode of season 2, Welcome to the Rebellion, where Cassian is smuggling Mon out of the Senate chamber. And of course, she has her big speech there.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a very Genevieve heavy episode. She featured very prominently in it. So I could understand her getting that shout out from Dan.
Oh, yeah. And what a great episode it was. And just knowing it won the Emmy, it's going to influence me to go back and watch the episode probably this weekend. Oh, hey, there's one thing I did want to tell everyone who was with us at Rancho Obi-Wan a couple weeks ago is do yourself a favor, punch up the Netflix and give American Graffiti a spin, because you will recognize a lot of Petaluma in that movie. When they're cruising the streets, it's all Petaluma. Things are happening in front of the seed bank, and all kind of familiar places. Meniere's, you name it. It's all there. So, watch that, and then watch the Tony Gilroy episode of Andor.
Yeah, no, I love that. American Graffiti is one of my all-time favorite movies. And so if you're out there and you're younger and you're really into Star Wars and you love George Lucas, but you look at that movie and you go, "Oh, it's an old-timey movie about running around in hot rod cars." Do yourself, you will love it. You will love it. I'm not even really a car guy, so if you think it's just a movie about cars, it's not. It's a
certainly not.
Great film.
It's about coming of age. It's about moving from high school to college. It's about cars. Yes, there's a lot of cruising, but it's about guys and girls and 1962 and milkshakes and rock and roll and Wolfman Jack.
Oh,
and
the soundtrack. There's never a moment in the film, I don't believe, where there's not music playing, and it's all environmental too. So it's always music that's being that you're hearing from the inside of a car, inside the diner, wherever. It's so clever.
It was really the first movie to ever have that sort of feel with the soundtrack. Soundtracks would just normally play as is on top of a film. But in this film, Walter Murch took speakers out to various locations and put those speakers in motion and held a mic up and recorded those speakers playing back all of these songs. And it's a technique he devised called worldizing. And it is heavily instrumental in sound design of the 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up to today. So it's a gas to listen to that film as you watch it with the earbuds in or headphones or whatever you want. So so that's your homework assignment for this weekend: American Graffiti and episode 8, season 2 of Andor, which we're going to get back into right now. Tony Gilroy spoke to he did a post-win interview with the Emmy guy, and he reveals that he was really not prepared to win, quite honestly, and surprised that they did win.
I was 99-1 on all the websites that I saw, so I really didn't put much work into the speech. And it's a little nerve-wracking when you go up and you go like, I should have spent more time on my speech.
Yes, you absolutely should have. I mean,
I was nervous up there a little bit. No, I might have been.
You spent so much time on the show, though, and that's where it truly mattered.
They don't expect writers to give good speeches. We put our words out. That's what we do.
Those Gilroys, they're pretty self-effacing, I mean,
they are. No pretension with those guys.
No, none whatsoever. I like that about them. He and his brother, they sound alike too.
Oh, incredible! Like vocal twins. The one that comes to mind is Tom Hanks's brother that does all of the Woody stuff for him whenever they're creating new action figures that talk or anything where you need Woody. They don't get Tom Hanks; they get his brother to go in there because he sounds just like him.
Yeah, call my brother. That'd be so great. Just to shuffle off all your work to your brother, and you're still rich, and he's getting paid. Everybody, you don't have to work. It's great. It's wonderful. So our last clip from Andor writer Dan Gilroy at the Emmys 2025. He explains why Andor connected with audiences, not just any audience, but general audiences as well, who. This is clip number 3. It's a video, and he connected. Why Andor connected with not only just Star Wars fans, but general audiences as well.
Well, I think it comes from my brother Tony, who was the creator. He came up with the idea that for 40 years people have watched Star Wars, and it's been a lot of spectacle and a lot of action. And Tony came up with the idea of let's see what it's like to actually live in this galaxy. And I think that idea was a critical part of why the show connected. Obviously, execution and direction and acting was amazing, but that idea, showing people something, you think you know what it is, but you show them something new, I think it's a powerful idea.
Yeah.
It's really interesting the approach they took to a Star Wars story. It's something we've never seen before. And it is more accessible, I think, to general audiences because it doesn't get buried in the lore. It tells a real story about like the human condition and society and the scale of power that we all exist within.
Right. And there's tons of historical things that it's drawn from, not just one area or one pocket of history, but all kinds of pockets of history. So that makes it relatable. But the one thing I will say, because Jim, people might be saying, well, wait a minute, these on the one hand, these guys are saying you don't want to have these different types of stories being told, just pick one area. It's not that it's impossible to do it, but you have to have really, really talented people. And there's very few that can go toe-to-toe with the Gilroys when it comes to writing this type of work. It also, I think, was the perfect marriage of the right writers with the right story. So that has a lot to do with it as well.
I don't know how anyone could look at Andor and not think Star Wars doesn't have an identity crisis, quite honestly. I mean, when I say that, it doesn't mean I'm damning anything. I'm just pointing out to the facts that somebody who's never really been into Star Wars gets sucked in by Andor. And then the next thing they queue up is Ahsoka Season 1 or The Acolyte. Is that going to work for anyone, anywhere, at any time? No, they're just going to bail and go back to whatever HBO, The Pit, or whatever HBO dramas they're watching that week.
Right.
You know, that's how it is. Television is extremely disposable to people who aren't fully committed as superfans like we are. So I am always trying to understand the perspective of the non-fan and apply it to the health of the franchise, because that gets talked about an awful lot about. Is Star Wars as popular as it's ever been? Ask yourself that question. And then when you come to a conclusive answer, then try to look for the reasons why. And I think one of the reasons why might have to do with an identity crisis. It's not connecting with the audiences. It's connecting with me as a super fan just fine. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I'm not criticizing. I'm just talking about the health of the franchise. And one of the things the franchise, you want to talk about Andor, it could have had even a bigger impact on Star Wars identity if the original plan came to fruition for the show. It was supposed to be 5 seasons, but they condensed it to 2 seasons. They essentially gave us season 1 as planned. But then at some point during season 1, they said, oh my God, we can't do 4 more of these. So let's condense the next 4 seasons into season 2 and then wrap it. And so Dan Gilroy, once again, we're going to hear from Dan Gilroy. He appeared on the Script Apart podcast and discussed what the show may have explored, what territory it may have gone into if it actually stuck to its original 5-season plan. And what he reveals here is a connection to the original Star Wars trilogy that would be, far beyond like a cameo appearance by Yularen was in Andor season 1, a much bigger character.
I mean, I can't imagine if over 5 years we wouldn't have shown the Emperor at that point. I think we would have gotten closer into that world. I think we would have gone like, we're really getting a good sense of opposition forces here, but let's go deeper into the power at the moment, the halls of power. I think we would have gone deeper into the halls of power and explored that. That would have been the natural way to go, I think, the progression of it.
I mean, the Gilroy take on a character like Palpatine would be really interesting.
Yes.
Because once you start, inside the hollowed halls of power when it comes to Palpatine, then you start getting into the metaphysical. And I do think that you can, Andor, I think, can work. And we've had a listener not that long ago talk about how Andor is sort of a gateway drug for his wife, getting her into Star Wars because she loves these high drama series. So he started her out with Andor. And so as you start to peel away the layers, and by the end of season 2, you're starting to hear more about the Force and you meet the Force healer, and so I think that it makes sense in that you start to get closer and closer to the seat of power, and when you do, you find out this isn't just a military force, this isn't just an authoritarian force. There's something metaphysical about this, and so I think that it can work, but again, only in the hands of really, really talented writers.
If you remember, when George Lucas was developing his live-action Star Wars Underworld TV series, it's rumored that it would have included a storyline about Palpatine and about how he essentially became evil and how it was the thing that really, pushed him toward the dark side was a relationship that went foul with a woman.
Classic George.
Yeah, well, that's classic Lucas, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's always some woman's fault.
Palpatine's mistress, Marcia, was, right? You can just hear George putting that number 2 lead to the
Marcia,
the legal pad as he writes that one.
You change it a little bit,
But that's what that was supposed to explore. So, maybe some of that research might have come to the surface. Maybe some of the plot points that they may have knocked out when they were developing that series, maybe that would have come back into play. You never know. In Star Wars, no ideas get thrown away. At least that was the approach George Lucas always took. And when I think about Matt Smith being cast in Star Wars Starfighter, I can't help but think, well, the reason they're doing that is because they threw his original character away for Rise of Skywalker, so they're looking for new venues, new avenues in which they can bring all those concepts to life. I mean, heck, they already did the work on it. So,
right.
It's like, things that get discarded oftentimes will influence future projects. I mean, how many Ralph McQuarrie designs have we seen come into light via animation and live action since, the Disney era began? I mean, too many, Ralph would probably be like, why are they doing that? We threw those ideas away. That's the garbage.
Well,
that's
Ralph's
the cutting room
garbage.
floor.
Ralph's bad ideas, right?
Yeah,
Ralph's bad ideas are better than a lot of people's best ideas.
Best ideas. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
You're thinking small, you're thinking like a thief. I'm thinking like a soldier. Think like a leader.
Rebel Force Radio.
Hey, do we still have time to go through some of these
Let's
Mark
do
Hamill
the Mark Maron.
highlights?
Yeah, so Mark Maron podcast. This is his swan song. I don't think this episode was his last, but he's definitely winding down as a podcaster. Not everybody has the stamina to make it 20 years, Jim.
There has been a lot of talk about Mark Maron and how he's put in all of these years of work and all this stuff. But I think he started like 5 years after we did, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And we're
Agreed.
just getting started here, Mark.
Right.
I mean, what are we doing here? You're not that old, Mark. Come on. You're like my age, probably. Maybe a little older. I think he's a little older than me. I have no idea. I'm not a Mark Maron fan. I've only listened to his podcast a few times. He had Wolfgang Van Halen on once. I listened to that. It was a great interview. I think people feel relaxed talking to him. I think he's an okay interviewer. But other than that, I don't know anything about the dude. But I do know that while Mark was out promoting The Life of Chuck, he made an appearance on WTF with Mark Maron and spoke a lot about his career. It was a really, really good interview with Mark. Of course, Mark did pull out some of the old gems that he says word for word
the
every
greatest
interview
hits.
he does. Yeah, I mean, oh my God, it's like, this one again, this. Because of course I listen to every Mark Hamill interview, but I did find some quality content within this conversation, and I pulled the highlights. And the first clip we're going to hear is Mark talking about the longevity of his career.
I'm 73. I certainly did not have any inclination that I would be working this long. There came a time about, 9-10 years ago, I thought, I've pretty much I lost my motivation. I didn't have that burning gut to, get me in a Marvel movie, do this, do that.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm happy. I love my dogs. I love my wife. I got to start spending more time wandering the beach with a metal detector.
Yeah.
But
can you do that?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, my point is, I didn't say the word resignation. I mean, the only ones that didn't like hearing that was my agent and my wife, because it's good to have me out of the house.
Yeah, sure.
But I said, look, I'll keep doing animation voiceover. I mean, I love doing that. I mean, in voiceover.
Oh, it's so nice, right?
Because they cast with their ears, not their eyes. They don't care what you look like. I'd never get so many of these parts, just a wide range of character roles in voiceover, and I'm content.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he's content because, of course, that, the Joker is, I mean, Mark Hamill, when people talk about, well, Mark Hamill is synonymous with Luke Skywalker, yes, he is, but there's a whole generation of Batman fans that Mark is the voice. He's their Joker. It's not Jack Nicholson. It's not Heath Ledger. It's Mark Hamill. And I kind of resemble that remark a little bit. So, but he was talking about this retiring like 9-10 years ago. And then I assumed that he's talking about before he got the phone call to come back as Luke Skywalker.
I don't know. I mean, 10 years ago, 2015 is when The Force Awakens came out.
Right.
Right. We were still, after Force Awakens, we were still looking forward to actually seeing Mark Hamill in a Star Wars film because we sure the hell didn't see him in The Force Awakens.
That's true.
I mean, let's face it.
True, yeah. No, absolutely.
So, I mean, I think maybe his timeline might be a little off. And I think you're right, Jason. I think he's specifically referring to the period of time prior to his return in the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah.
Where he was really, like he says, finding contentment in doing voice work. And they talk a lot about voice work in the interview. But one thing's for sure about Mark is that his career really got revitalized and reinvented with his appearance in the Star Wars sequels. All of a sudden, you're seeing Mark Hamill everywhere. He currently has 5 films in various stages of production right now. So one of them is SpongeBob Search for SquarePants, where he voices the Flying Dutchman. So that's not a big role for him.
Oh, he's doing the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah. Well, according to IMDb.
Okay, because that's been one of the Murray brothers. That's been Brian Doyle Murray for a long time.
Oh, no kidding.
The Flying Dutchman, yeah.
Wow, Bill Murray's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Doyle Murray.
Yeah,
I went to the same high school as all the Murray brothers. I love to repeat that here on the show. There's just something in the oxygen of those hallways that I think the Murray brothers left behind, and I inhaled. I really did. As far as being a typical smartass. But there's more from Mark Hamill. This is interesting. He talks about this early conversation he had with legendary Star Wars producer, the late, great Robert Watts. And Mark talks about this conversation they had in Robert's office. I think it was on day 1 of production for the original Star Wars back in 1977. And they talk a little bit about what they think the potential of the project actually is.
Robert Watts was the production designer. On the first day at the studio, he had me in his office. He says, what do you think about what we're about to embark on? I said, I think we're on a winner.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
It's got humor, robots arguing over whose fault it is.
Yeah.
There's a really great villain, effortless feminism. I mean, the princess takes no shit. She's right up in Vader's face. You call this a rescue? Give me those guns. She takes over her own rescue, makes the boys look like chumps.
Yeah.
I said, that's what I love about it. It works on so many levels.
Yeah. What'd he say?
What did who say? Watts. Well, first of all, he said, what would you like me to call you, Mr. Hamill or Mark? I said, hey, I'm easy. You can call me Hey You.
Yeah.
Do you know, till the day he died last year, he called me Hey You. Hey You. He was fabulous, this guy. And he did Raiders. I mean, he had a fantastic career on his own, but he had humor. I mean, there's something about the Brits. They have a sense of humor that's all their own.
Yeah.
And they can wield the C word, unlike the Americans.
Sure. Yeah. It's not as loaded.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. If you ever watch The Boys, you'll know what I'm talking about. Who's that guy? He was in Lord of the Rings, and he played McCoy in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek. Not Keith Urban.
Carl Urban, yeah.
Carl Urban. I'll put my country music aside. Carl Urban. The way this guy masterfully drops the C word into each episode of The Boys is something to really behold, you know. And when the episodes end, I have the C word meter that I present to my family. I'll be like, we reached 7 on this episode. 7. At first, y'all were offended. And then it kind of soaked into you.
Yeah, it's like, it's like breathing for those people. I mean, that word just rolls off the tongue. As Mark points out, it's a little bit different in the States. There's some words that we use here in the States that you wouldn't want to use over there. They kind of, it's a little switcheroo. So
here's something interesting. We've been hearing about this car crash Mark Hamill was involved in that occurred between the shooting of Star Wars and the shooting of The Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
And we've heard that it was just like like Mark's entire face had to be reconstructed and all this stuff. Well, Mark talks about the car crash in this interview. And, I mean, let's listen to it and then discuss the things that we've always heard about the car crash compared to the reality of Mark Hamill's recollection.
That would have been January before the movie came out. And what was interesting, nobody wrote about it because nobody knew who I was.
Right.
And later it came out, and I broke my nose when I hit the steering wheel because I braked too hard. Oh, they made that I rolled the car over. I was crawling on the freeway.
Sure.
Oh, I mean, it was just ridiculous. But I mean, I didn't really want to feed that story, so I just sort of ignored it.
Oh, but it wasn't a life-threatening thing.
Oh, no. It was stupid.
It healed and you didn't get...
No. I mean, it was one of those things where, you know what it was? I was going way too fast. There was nobody else on the freeway, probably 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I saw my exit, and I was 1 lane away from the exit. And I thought, rather than just going to the next exit, I thought I could pull it off. And I pulled over, and I had to hit the brakes, and I broke my nose.
He broke
This is something
nose.
that I had been hearing since I was a little kid.
Right.
Because a lot of people, myself included, wondered why Mark looked so different in Empire Strikes Back than he did in Star Wars. And so the explanation that I always got was, well, he was in this terrible car crash. His face was shattered. They had to reconstruct it. And that's why they have him get attacked by the Wampa at the beginning of Empire, because it needed a way in terms of the story to explain and say, okay, it's the same guy. And there's also, by the way, sort of like the Paul is dead, there's also these rumors that the real Mark Hamill died, but Star Wars was such a huge hit that they got another guy that kind of looked like him.
Heard that one.
Yeah. So Mark is dead, just like Paul is dead. And he does, I mean, he does look different. A lot of it has to do with the hair.
This explains why he was barefoot during the throne room scene at the end of A New Hope. He was barefoot, just like Paul was.
Just like
when he was
Paul.
crossing when he was going along the crosswalk on Abbey Road.
Right, and if you watch Empire Strikes Back backwards, you can hear Luke is dead. You were there, ground zero, when all this was happening. Did you think that Luke looked different between films?
Well, there was just an aging factor. And that's all I really saw. And then I started hearing all these stories about him having his face having to get fully reconstructed. And yeah, that was the reason why George Lucas put the Wampa scene in at the beginning of the film and all of this stuff. But as a matter of fact, I even used to watch the film Corvette Summer. assuming that Mark got in the car crash while he was filming that film.
Right.
Like
well,
on the set.
Right.
I figured Bonaducci had something to do with this. And no, I mean, none of that's true. I mean, it sounds like he was just in a car crash. He bumped his nose on the steering wheel. And, I mean, sure, maybe there is kind of a growth that he went through between Star Wars and Empire. But I think the biggest change between those two films is the feathered hair. If they just kept the feathered hair, nobody would think any different.
Well,
you're showing me these photos, these comparison photos.
Different. Yes.
These comparison photos are rather jarring that you're putting on the screen right now. But I mean, we're looking at different lighting. We're looking at all kinds of different.
Well, he says he broke his nose. The published story says that it required reconstruction of his nose and part of his cheekbone. So that's possible. If you look at sort of where the moles are, Mark Hamill, he's got a number of noticeable moles.
Always has.
But the nose is much more turned up when you get into Empire. He's got sort of like a little bit more of a button nose as opposed to what he had in A New Hope.
I see that.
It is definitely, there's a difference. The eyes even look a little bit different. But your nose is such a literally it's the center of your face, but it's such a central part of your face, and your cheekbones, the height of your cheekbones. I think you can probably change a lot about a person. But I tell you, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but the more I look at these pictures, I'm starting to get a little freaked out, man. What happened to our Luke Skywalker?
No, I'll tell you what.
It's still him.
Okay, all right. Sure, he got in a car crash. But also, when he shot A New Hope and when he shot Empire, all kind of things happened to Mark's life and his lifestyle in those 3 years. He suddenly found himself having money. Gone were the days of dinner with cup of noodles, okay? Mark's living large. He's living off the fat of the city. And I think we see a little pudginess, maybe having to do with that. I mean, he's grown from 24 to 27. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on with your facial structure in those years.
I think, I'll tell you what I think it is, though, Jim. I think he buffed up. He bulked up going into Empire. I mean, he's pretty. He's in great shape when you see him training on Dagobah. This is true. When you lose some weight or you start getting muscle mass, that does change the shape of your face quite a bit. So
it can.
I don't see pudginess. What I see is definitely a bulkier, more muscular Mark Hamill. That's for sure.
All I know is this, and Mark says it many times in the interview. He's been in this business a long time. He doesn't care anymore. And we've known this about Mark. He's kind of pushed Disney's buttons a few times over the years because he's rogue. He just doesn't care anymore. And so why would he still try to cover up a car accident he had as a kid in his 70s, I mean, there's just no motivating factor for this anymore. Not even the insurance money can be affected by any recount he has of that story. So he basically says it was a minor thing. He broke his nose, BFD. We'd always heard that he went through like some massive plastic surgery, face reconstruction and all of this, but he says he broke his nose. So maybe he did a little damage to his cheekbone. I don't know. Is there a difference in his appearance between the two films? Of course there is, that I can't quite explain, but, getting older sucks, man. Even when you're in your 20s, it sucks. So we have a couple more clips here. Now we're looking ahead to the future, and the question is asked of Mark, could he return for more Star Wars? And here's what he had to say.
I was given such definitive closure. In the sequels, I do a cameo in the first one and a cameo in the second one. The only time I'm part of the narrative is in Ryan Johnson's middle one.
Yeah.
And they give me definitive closure.
Yeah.
So as an actor, I've had that before.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my whole life is you get the job done and you let it go.
Yeah.
So my feeling is people say, well, are you going to do more? I said, well, first of all, they haven't asked.
Yeah.
And number two, why would they? I mean, they're doing really well with Mandalorian and Andor. And I loved Rogue One. I mean, they're doing great. And I had my time.
Yeah.
I have no desire whatsoever
Yeah.
to go back.
Okay. No desire whatsoever to go back.
Well, he's not pushing himself. And I
Yeah.
think there'll be further clarification on Mark's attitude with the next clip that we're going to play. But I just wanted to stop it right then and there, just because when Mark defines Star Wars' success, he does it in a fashion that's very similar to us as fans. When he starts listing off those successes, he starts with The Mandalorian to Andor, and he also says, and I also loved Rogue One as well. No mention of the 3 films of the sequel trilogy, no mention of Solo, and no mention of any other streaming series. Those are the top 3 with Mark Hamill, The Mandalorian, Andor, Rogue One. Those are the top 3 with Star Wars fans. Mandalorian, Andor, Rogue One. Stay the course.
All right.
Oh, so we have more. Here's the last clip.
Yeah.
The last clip from Mark. Like I said, this clip might offer a little bit more insight into his statements about not wanting to go back. He really talks about his just general attitude about working in Hollywood in the future as a guy who's now in his 70s, you know. What's Mark's approach? What is he telling the people out there representing his career? What is he telling his family? What is his attitude about future work in Hollywood?
Well, the great position to be in is, I don't care. I'm old. I mean, how much more time do I have? I mean, that's why I was saying to my representatives, I said, look, I did what I set out to do. I'm so lucky to have been able to be paid for what I like doing, but what's the point anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, oh, I want to be in this or that.
Yeah, but the point is, if something comes across your desk there, and you're like, this would be fun.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense. So he's not just saying I'm not interested in Star Wars anymore. He's just saying, look, I'm 73 years old. I've had my life as an actor. I've been very fortunate. I'm not seeking out anything new. And I'm telling my representatives, you don't need to be out peddling Mark Hamill anymore.
Well, essentially, yeah, much to their chagrin.
Yeah, well, yeah. They want their 15%.
But I think Mark he's not, he doesn't care about chasing anything anymore, but he's content in sitting back and seeing what people have to present him. He's not going to be telling his agents, get me in the next Marvel movie, like so many Hollywood actors do, regardless of their age. He's just kicking back, chilling out, and waiting for the offers to come to him. And he's found some things that he really, really digs. And he's been through some collaborations that have been totally fruitful for him at this point in his career, which I think is richly deserved because of all the typecasting and stereotypical BS he had to deal with as a result of being one of the greatest film characters of all time, Luke Skywalker, that was a curse upon him more than a blessing. Mark has famously said many times it wasn't until Carrie Fisher smacked him upside the head and said, embrace this stuff, man. You created something great and people love it. Stop trying to run away from your past and trying to redefine yourself. You've been defined. You're Luke Skywalker. But Mark still takes it, with a grain of salt, as always, and tries to push himself as an artist, as a performer, as somebody who's seeking gratification from acting. The art of acting, I think, is something that still weighs very heavily on Mark's mind. And if the right thing comes across his desk, well, he's going to jump up and attack it. And I do predict that Mark Hamill will be involved in at least one more Star Wars production before it's all said and done.
Chewie, get us out of here! All right, that's going to wrap things up here at Rebel Force Radio for this week. Fear not, we're back on schedule. We're back on track. We will be back next week with more RFR, of course. And if that can't wait that long, as we said earlier in the program, check out Rebel Force Radio over on Patreon, patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio, or go to the official website, rebelforceradio.com, and click on the Patreon banner on the right rail, and boom, just like that, you'll be transported to more Rebel Force Radio goodness. We also have lots of stuff available for free on YouTube. You can follow us on our social media channels, on Instagram, on X, and on Facebook. We do have the official Rebel Force Radio Facebook group. Very easy to join. Just have to answer a few questions to prove that you indeed are a Rebel Force Radio listener. And you'll get approved for entrance. And it's a great community, much like what we were talking about with RFR on Patreon. So join in, won't you? We'd love to have you hanging with us in between shows. And if you're a podcatcher of choice, we love when you subscribe to the podcast through the various podcatchers, whether it be Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If it allows you to subscribe, we'd love to have those subscriptions. If it allows you to write a review, we'd love to have those reviews. We read them all. Just one simple rule, please.
Make them good.
So please remember to refer Rebel Force Radio to the Star Wars fans in your life, the people that maybe they've never listened to a podcast, much less a Star Wars podcast. So tell them about RFR. We love to have those referrals. And that'll do it. We will see you next week for more RFR. But do please check out all of the Rancho event coverage on Patreon. You will not be disappointed. So if you couldn't have been there with us in person, it's a great way to make it feel like you were there. We'll see you next time. For Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
I'm Jimmy Mack.
And remember,
The Force will be with you, always.
I don't care.